Hello, Crafty Clan! Apparently that's me live, so let me know in the comments if everything's working fine. I know, Sunday live is a very strange one. I'll explain. Right. So most of you have probably noticed that Etsy did a thing this week. They've introduced a new thing to hopefully explain and help you rank better in search. That was the theory behind it, they said. And I did a quick live on it when it happened, and I was planning for my Saturday Etsy news to be about that. However, I started digging into it and I thought, right, we want to look and see because they have changed the documentations that tell us how Etsy search worked. The ultimate guide, the Etsy handbook, the Etsy seller's Bible, they've changed that. So I wanted to go through and compare things from the old one to the new one. So all the rest of this week I've been going through and picking out bits like that. But I also thought, okay, so they've said they've changed this. It's not entirely clear 100% what they mean. So I thought, I need to test this. I need to test how the search changes actually work. Let's be the first person to test this. And I started testing it, and as you'll find out, things things are a little tougher than they used to be to test these things, so it's taken a bit longer. So I decided, rather than patching everything together into a video, editing it and it all coming out whenever, I wanted to get this out so we could talk about it together and you get to see my disorganized mind. I'll give you a quick sneak peek just now, just for funsies. I make a kind of document like this. This is what we're going to go through. I make a document like this when I'm building a video, picking together all the bits of data. Don't worry, I'll zoom in and let you see that in a minute. So I've got all the bits of data, all the bits of the word not good at words, all the bits of my experiments, everything's there. So rather than me picking through this and giving you just my ideas and making a video based on that, I thought we'd go through it together. I could show you. So what I've done, I've got the old search and the new search documents from Etsy, comparing them side by side to things that are different, running a couple of tests to see if we can see things have changed. I tried to break some of my listings. I did a naughty. You're going to enjoy this. So yeah, I thought I'd do all of that and see. Then we could go through it all together, and we'll have a definitive guide to what on earth Etsy's talking about. And hello, Anna, Melanie, Susanna, Momo Jersey, CJ, and Ladybird, and everyone else who's in the house. Thank you so much for joining me. My voice isn't sounding great today, but I thought it was a good day to go live. So shall we jump into this and actually have, oh, wrong button, that one, actually have a look at what I'm talking about. So let's zoom in and we'll start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. So I'll just show you what I've done. Let's zoom in properly. Good enough at the screen. Okay, so this is just a little Canva document, a whiteboard. It kind of tickles me because when I start putting together things, it looks a bit like a crime scene whiteboard, and I feel that's what I'm trying to do. So what I've done, I've got old snippets that I've had in the past, and also gone through the Wayback Machine. If you haven't used that before, it saves snippets of what websites looked like in the past, so we can compare side by side. So on this part of the page, everything on the left hand side is what Etsy used to say, and everything on the right is what Etsy's now saying. I went through some of this and I've highlighted it, but then I stopped highlighting it at other bits. But we can talk through it. So the most important thing is how Etsy search works. These documents that Etsy started producing, did in 2018, and then they've been updating them. These are, to the best of my knowledge from everyone I've been talking to, these are the most important documents. There's other articles, there's handbook things. They're not necessarily updated, but these documents, the ultimate guide to Etsy search, how search works, keywords 101, those documents are the ones that Etsy keeps the most up to date. So if there's a change, then this is where Etsy puts it. Hello, Lolanda, is that right? So say we're just going to go through this and look at what they've changed. So the last snapshot I got on this, on how Etsy search worked, was from May 2022, and then this is our our latest thing, which just came out. This came out on Wednesday or Thursday. I've lost the days of the week. So the first thing is they've added a little bit here to the very opening paragraph, and this added section is: when searching on Etsy, it's important that shoppers can find high quality listings from shops that have a track record of good customer service. Making these listings easier to find helps build trust with shoppers, so they come back to shops like yours again and again. So this sort of sounds like a mission statement. The idea is Etsy wants to showcase the best things in Etsy search. Yes, we knew that. That's what it's trying to do. Is it right? Who knows? I highlighted this. It's already said this second bit before, but I think a lot of people miss this. In fact, I disagree with them. Etsy says there's 2 phases with how search works. I think there's more, but yes. How search works, there's query matching, which is the dumb algorithm that just whatever you type into search, it just goes, all of these listings contain these words somewhere. And then you have more clever algorithms, and I don't think it's just one. You've got the ranking algorithm that takes into account the base things, and then we've got some ones that go on top. There's like the personalization algorithm. And that even that base ranking position isn't set in stone, because Etsy talks about conversion a whole lot. They even have articles on how to get great converting listings. How people respond when they see your item in search is a big factor on where it's going to rank. So that's they've given it a score that we can see now. I think they called it the engagement score. So how people react, how your listing converts when it's seen in search, is a big factor as well. So that's definitely more than 2 phases, but Etsy calls it 2 phases. Etsy message: to keep Etsy safe, we're testing a new daily limit on your Etsy ads budget due to the risk factor of your shop. My limit was reduced from $1,000 to $100. Has anyone heard of something like this? Oh, interesting. I know Etsy has a limit. Every shop has a different limit on what they can use in their ads. Usually it goes up the way. Once you use up your limit and you're paying off your bills and Etsy's happy with you, then it increases your limit. So pulling it down from 1,000 to 100, haven't heard of that. Have you been using all of your budget? I haven't heard of that. I will definitely keep an eye out. But if you can give me some more details of, has your shop had a whole load of extra orders that it doesn't usually? Have you not been using up your whole budget? Don't know. Kira, hello there from North Carolina. All right, let's get some more into this. So ranking, this is the most important bit that we want to know about. So they have changed this ever so slightly. Before we get into details, a few more important details to note. So it's the same here, but they've put it in bullet points, and they've added star seller doesn't directly impact the ordering of search results. However, it does serve as a further trust signal to buyers and can drive increased conversion from your shop. So good that they're saying that. And running Etsy ads doesn't impact where you rank in search either. We already knew that. So again, a lot of these are identical where they haven't changed. It's good. We know something hasn't changed. But in the ranking section, they have added to the normal bit. So let's read the whole thing. Once we've gathered all the listings that match a buyer's query, we use the information we have about each listing and shop to rank the listing, so people browsing Etsy see the items they're more likely to purchase earlier in the results. Connecting shoppers with quality listings more often helps to build trust so that they come back to shops like yours again and again. That's why Etsy Search currently takes into account your shop, customer service, and listing quality. So they are telling us that Etsy Search, how you are ranking in search, takes into account your shop, customer service, and listing quality. So they have changed search, but is it as much as we think? Anyway, so relevance is the first stage. That's the dumb algorithm that we just talked about. So this is the one that just gathers together everything all at once. And they, hitting my juice there. I don't know if you heard, that's quite musical. And they have added, which is interesting. Remember, while you want to be descriptive and appeal to buyers, make sure you're using accurate descriptors that follow our policies in your titles, descriptions, and tags. Learn more about Etsy house rules here. So they've added that to the relevance. So nothing's changed in that your titles, tags, listing descriptions, categories, and attributes, when they match, they have the potential to appear in the search results. If they're an exact match, you may be ranked higher in search because they're more relevant. So relevance is still a thing. Retro Cat Art, hello there. Relevance is still a thing. And under ranking, here are some of the factors that go into Etsy search ranking. Relevance is always right up there at the top. Etsy haven't said that one factor is weighted more than the other. I would say that conversion is super important, but relevance is the first thing. What title and tags, categories, and attributes you put into your listing, that's something that you can control, and Etsy's putting it right up there, right at the top. Selena Cruz, howdy from Texas. Okay, so here's the first, what I think a fairly big change. We used to have the listing quality score. So this is Etsy looks at clues from shoppers to determine whether a listing is appealing and meets their expectations once they click. We look at how the listing converts when it's seen in search. So this is your conversion score for basically how you're listing. When customers see it in search, do they like it? Do they click on it? Do they buy it? That's always been a thing. Now they've changed. We don't have the listing quality score. You have listing engagement score and listing quality. So the listing engagement score is written exactly the same. It's just the name that's changed. But we've got a section called listing quality. This is, I find this kind of interesting how they decide to do this. They've had the listing quality score forever, but they change it to a listing engagement score, which makes sense. It is the engagement, how buyers are engaging with your item when they see it in search. But they have added this listing quality. This is all brand new. When shopping from the millions of unique items on Etsy, we want to make sure that high quality listings with clear information stand out so that buyers feel confident in making a purchase. Each of your listings should include multiple high quality photos and a return policy, which are crucial for buyers when deciding when to make a purchase. Okay, so this is where what is a direct factor that they're using in ranking and what isn't. This is only my opinion, but I will say here, this bottom section, when determining how listings, now we know we've been told listing quality impacts how your listings show up in search, but they're saying here, when determining how listings show up in search, we also consider postage price as an overall factor for US sellers. With the photography and the return policy, it's saying each of your listings should include high quality photos and a return policy, which are critical for buyers when deciding when to make a purchase. They haven't said, does that impact ranking or not? This specifically says when determining how listings show up in search. So I am not sure. So this is why I decided to do some tests, which you'll see in a minute. I am not sure if they're not talking about these as potential conversion factors that will then, if your listings convert, that will increase your listing engagement score and then rank you, or if they're ranking you based on these factors. I've done some tests, but we shall see. Some more details about the Etsy ads. You're a star seller. Many high-selling stores from Turkey have received this message and their daily limits have been reduced. Oh. It could be something about payments from Turkey. I will dig into this later. I've been head down in this kind of weeds. I haven't heard of this one. It could be something to do with changing payment methods in Turkey or something, but it's a really scummy thing to do. If you're a star seller, you're obviously doing everything right. I don't see why they should take away some of your ad budget. I mean, at the end of the day, if Etsy is able to spend your ad budget, you're making Etsy money. Yeah. So back to this. We used to have the customer and market experience score. So they told us this was getting great reviews, having complete shop policies, adding an about section, positively impact your search ranking. So again, they specifically said these things impact your search ranking, while recent intellectual property infringements can hurt search ranking. So this is what I'm thinking about is Etsy says in some places these things impact your search ranking. In other places, it just says, you should do this. So read what you think, but I think you all know my thoughts on this anyway. So they've changed from customer market experience score to customer service quality. We know that as an Etsy seller, you do everything you can to ensure a smooth and trusted shopping experience for your buyer. That's why shops that constantly follow our customer service standards are prioritized in search. Definitely saying this is important. We included factors like a shop's average review rating, message response rate, case response from the past 3 months in our search ranking. This shows up, is this the right page? This shows up on your dashboard. You can see your progress and, you know what these things are, and they do impact where your listing ranks. So that's all nice and clear. You have exact targets, things to aim for. And if they don't work for you for any good reasons, make sure and tell Etsy. I haven't checked, have I? On time, at least 80% of orders dispatch on time. Yeah, it's not even saying with tracking, but make sure that everything that is normal, good customer service for your shop in the country where you're in, make sure you can get this customer service quality, because this is important. They say this impacts, well, it says if you do these good things, you're prioritized in search. Miss Williams, hello there. So pleased. 50 of you have turned up already. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Super happy with that. Because yeah, I don't usually go live. Don't usually go live on a Sunday. This is our Etsy news, but a big live one. Right, so there was a section called postage price. This is an interesting one because we may have known and shouted about listings that are delivered for free to the United States shops or that offer US free delivery guarantee get priority US search placements in the Etsy app. This has been removed. There's some articles left where it still mentions this, but as I say, Etsy prioritize these articles, the Ultimate Guide to Etsy Search articles first when there's a change. And this US free delivery guarantee, it's not been mentioned as a ranking factor anymore. There is no postage price area, just in the listing quality area. It says, when determining how listings show up in search, we also consider postage price. And soon we'll be updating how postage price is factored into search for US domestic listings to make sure that, so that's the keep it under $6. So they've changed away from the free shipping and they're now saying, and it does just say, we've considered postage prices an overall factor for US sellers. So rest of the world, yeah, not they don't bother about them. Translations and language is all the same. Shopper habits is exactly the same. So that's everything they've changed in how to rank in search, how the search works. And then again, keywords 101, everything you need to know. This article I got hold of was from 2020, so there's a couple of different things there as well, and this is the latest one. One thing that amused me, I was reading both the UK article. One thing they've changed, here it says, Etsy Search is designed to help shoppers find what they're looking for and inspire them to click add to cart. And now they're saying add to basket. I assume that's a UK thing. I'm sure it still says add to cart in the US, but add to basket is a UK thing. So it tickled me that they've taken the time to change that. Okay. Interesting. The change for the essentials. Remember, this is keywords 101. So they've removed this bit here. When there's a match to a search query, your items have the potential to appear in the search results. Where they've changed this, interesting what they used to say, the keywords you use in your tags, titles, categories, and attributes work together to match your listings with shopper searches. They've added the keywords you use across your listing titles, descriptions, tags, and categories and attributes are essential when it comes to matching you to the right buyer. So they haven't said you have the potential to appear in search. It just says to match you. So the keywords in these places are essential for the matching for the first algorithm. And interesting that they added the word listing in there. Perhaps people were reading this and saying the keywords you use in your titles, do they mean section titles, everything else? But no, they're saying the keywords you use within your listing help Etsy know who to show your listing to. I know people, I've been there as well. We tried to find all the things that can help your listing rank. If you put it in the right section, if you have your shop headline saying the right thing or something, but they really aren't. They're just saying in your listing. Again, they're mentioning here when they're talking about your title. And if anyone hasn't read these articles, you really should, but I'm just skipping through them reasonably quickly. So they've added, remember, while you want to be descriptive to appeal to buyers, make sure you're using the accurate descriptors that follow our policies in your titles, descriptions, and tags. Etsy prohibits the sale of products whose presentation may mislead buyers, including mislabeling. For example, don't describe your listing as cashmere if your products are not made of cashmere. So they are doubling down on saying don't use tags, titles, attributes, or anything that are not relevant for your listing. We have spoke about that before. For example, if you're using a attribute of Father's Day or something, that's only relevant if it's like a card or a mug that says "World's Best Dad." It's not right if it's just a gift that could be given to a father on any time, but it might make a nice Father's Day gift as well. Listing descriptions. Yeah, I just added that actually because they'd added this a little while. Oh, yes, this article was from 2020, so this was added before this most recent update, but it is a fairly new update that they added that listing descriptions are used for query matching. So basically, words you put in your description can be used to query for you to show up in search. They brought this up a couple of years ago. I've done tests. The difference, it's not worth worrying about. It's good practice to write your descriptions descriptively using the keywords that describe your item, because they're things that describe your item, but don't knock your pan out trying to keyword stuff your descriptions. No reason. I think this is the final article that I looked at side by side. So creating listings that convert. This was the 5th of January 2023 and then 25th of August. So because people are worried about conversion, so I always like to pull this one up. This was across both articles. This hasn't changed. This isn't new. I just want to keep mentioning it. To put simply, when shoppers click on and purchase a listing from search, that listing may rank higher in search results for that query, because people see conversion and they're like, oh, someone shared me on social media and now loads of people are coming over and my conversion's dropped. Doesn't matter. The conversion that's important is from if they're seen in that search, how they engage with it in that search will impact where you will show up in that search. So even for the same listing, if it's doing really well for one search term and not well for another search term, it can be seen higher for the good search term and lower for the bad search term. So again, we said listing quality has now been changed to engagement score. It does kind of make sense. It's not about your listing quality. It is how well people are engaging with things. So, and this is what they both said, but optimizing your listings with conversion in mind is one step you can take to improve your search ranking and your shop's visibility. Read on for tips. So this is not saying that doing these things will rank your shop higher. They're saying if you do these things customers tend to like, and if you do these things and it makes the customer more likely to purchase your item, that will increase your engagement score for that keyword, and you will rank higher in search because of the effect it's had, not because you made the change. Just going to check chat again. I get lost. Anna, does a conversion from a visitor from social media have the same power for ranking, do you think? No. A conversion from a visitor from social media, if someone comes in from social media and purchases and you ship on time and they leave a good review, all those things help your entire shop. It's a really good thing. But them coming in from social media and purchasing, there's no search term attached to it. Etsy doesn't know what that search was. The only thing it can sort of help is if Etsy knows a bit about that shopper. If that person then goes and buys loads of other things, then it's possible that Etsy starts to understand people who like that kind of thing, like this kind of thing, like that kind of thing. So when they're showing suggestions of you might like, or when they're personalizing things, it might help them personalize a little bit more. But no, it's not relevant for this kind of thing. But so yeah, if hundreds of people come in from social media, if they don't buy, hasn't hurt your listing. If they do buy, it can only help, unless you're not unless you're not giving good customer service and you're shipping late and everything. But otherwise, it's good. Okay, so as you can see, first listing photo, this is the conversion article, but they have changed this quite significantly. So your first listing photo, the image displayed in search results, is crucial when it comes to inspiring shoppers to click and increasing your conversion rate. A few important considerations to keep in mind. So again, look, I don't want to tell you what to think. I can tell you what I think. Etsy's telling us all of this. I don't believe these are ranking factors. I believe they are things that could impact conversion. I have done some tests. I'll show you the results of the tests, but they come and later on in this video, so hang around. I'll show you the results of these tests, but also they're only my tests. But my feeling, if what we live reading on this, it's crucial when it comes to inspiring shoppers to click. In the other factors that we've read, when it's a ranking factor, they've said the words that these change where you rank, these positively impact where you're shown in search and everything. This is saying inspiring shoppers to click and increasing your conversion rate. So let me know what you think, guys. Am I hallucinating? But this is what I feel. They're explaining conversion factors to us. Now, I know this is included in the search visibility page that you're going to see, and they're going to give you suggestions, but are these saying this is something that hurts your ranking, or are these suggestions that might make a more attractive looking thing? And it could, at the end of the day, it could be something that they're planning to add. I don't think they have added it yet, because unfortunately they are planning to have a dumber algorithm. They did say this. They are planning to take away from the machine learning and have something that's more explainable. So it is possible that these will become ranking factors. But at the same time, the shipping price thing, they said, we're going to do this, and this is the date we're going to do this. And I will say, my gut feel is these haven't been added yet. They wouldn't add them before they changed all the articles. They certainly didn't change them on the day they put up all the articles, because Etsy just is not that good to be able to change everything all at once. That just would not have happened. So if they were going to make changes, I would imagine they would have told us they were going to make changes. Again, my gut feeling. YouTube police, you have got it exactly. You have to read this like a lawyer. Exactly. It sort of always was the case. You always had to, and it makes sense. Etsy can't tell you do this, this, and this, and we guarantee you'll get sales, because then Etsy gets in trouble. So Etsy has to be a bit fuzzy with the wording. Anyway, the photos should clearly show the item that's for sale and be eye-catching enough that buyers want to take a look. Choose photos that's high resolution, and they give you the recommended size for listing images. 2000 pixels on the shortest side and a resolution of 27 ppi. That's very weird to be talking about ppi as a resolution. That's a printing thing. But anyway, Avoid using collages in your first listing photo, since it can be confusing for shoppers to determine at a glance what's for sale. It'll serve as a thumbnail and may be hard to see on smaller screens. So again, choose, should, avoid. Images should not have your text here placeholder, but should reflect an example of the finished product. So again, this isn't a ranking factor. This is a, we're going to take your listing down if it doesn't do it factor. Each of your listings should include multiple high quality photos, which are critical for buyers when deciding when to make purchases. The Etsy search visibility page is also available on the Etsy seller app, making it easy to take photos on your phone and quickly make updates. They're really, really pushing for you to get the app. They really want us all to use the app. Did that? Yes, that was just behind there. Yes, so with delivery, as I said, they have removed the mentions of free delivery, and they're now talking about this new tool. So in addition to your item price, shoppers may factor in what you charge for your postage when deciding to make a purchase. So that is a conversion. A shopper who loved your listing when they clicked on it from search could be turned off by expensive postage shops. In fact, buyers have told us expensive postage is a top 10 barrier to purchase on Etsy. Etsy. This is very easy. In search, show the full price that the person's going to have to pay, including shipping. For me, guys, let me know how you feel this. When I'm shopping anywhere, especially a new site I've never been on, what puts me off is when in search I can't see the full price, because then I'm thinking it's going to be a con. So how many times have you clicked on something with a really high shipping price? So we don't have to do anything crazy to get around it. Just show the price of the shipping. Other sites can do it, and you can do it as well. When it's free shipping, it says free shipping. Let us know the price of shipping. Let us know the taxes. You can tell if the person's logged in. You can tell what that's going to be. Our data shows that shifting some of your postage costs onto your item price while keeping the total price the same can be an effective way to improve your sales. It wouldn't if we just saw the full price. But anyway, they've launched a new tool that lets you lower your US domestic shipping prices in bulk and optionally adjust your item price. This helps you recover your postage costs while keeping your prices competitive. To make sure that buyers see postage prices that better meet their expectations when shopping, and to help encourage them make purchases, starting on the 1st of October, we'll be updating how postage prices factored into search for US domestic listings. That means listings with postage prices lower than $6 will be prioritized in search. Yes, YouTube police, they just need to show the full price. It's not rocket science, is it? Other sites can do that. Anyway, so they're saying again, listings with the lower price shipping will be prioritized in search. They used to say that with their free shipping guarantee, and they did even say lowering your postage costs for shoppers in your country can improve your search ranking. They're not saying that anymore, but anyway. I just pulled this one up as well, the price, because they used to give a whole little helpful thing of, here's a formula for calculating your price. Here you go. But here they've just gone less. They are saying we have an optional profit calculator that helps you do the maths. I think it's funny, like someone goes through this and rates this in British English by saying maths with an S. But so yes, they're doing less explanations and just going, use our profit calculator when you're making a listing. Reviews is the same. Okay, yeah, so that was all the things I compared side by side. Now we get into my mind, doing some tests, seeing what's going on. So I have some listings that have what Etsy's considering bad photographs. So I'm getting warnings about these. So I thought I'd have a look and see, did Etsy do something to where your listings rank? Now, this is a ranking thing. It's not a customization thing. So the good news with this is the Etsy API tells you where your listings rank before personalizations are added. So they should be able to tell you if something has changed. So on eRank, I also work for eRank, but these are my videos. I'm just using the tool because it's handy for what I'm wanting to do. On eRank, there's a tool called Spotted on Etsy that checks once a day the API and sees where your listings are ranking for a number of keywords. So if my listings with the bad photographs were suddenly dropping in search and my normal listings weren't, then that might be an indication that there's something going on there, that Etsy's done something recently. So I had a look. These top listings are considered by Etsy good pictures. Etsy is happy with these pictures. And what you're seeing here, this little graph at the end, is the search ranking, where you're ranking over time. I think it's 14 days. So you can see the keyword and you can see where you're ranking. Can we see a trend in keywords? Because bear in mind, it takes into account a whole load of factors. So for given keywords, some of the keywords I'm ranking lower over time. Some of the keywords I dropped and then I went back up. Some of the keywords I've dropped. Some I'm staying steady, and this one, oh, what keyword was that? That's interesting. Corgi butt dog bookmark took a sudden step up. So in my listings that had what Etsy considers good enough pictures, I don't have any warnings about these pictures. I don't see, if anything, there's a slight trend downwards in much of my ranking. Some of them are steady, but yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So here, these listings are what Etsy considers bad photographs. And you guys let me know if you can see a sudden step change in the ranking positions that indicates that Etsy's made a change, that these listings are being singled out and ranking badly while these ones are doing well. I don't see a step change, or I don't feel that I'm being penalized, if that makes sense. A lot of my things are dropping over time. I haven't had I have had sales now recently, but I wasn't having sales. I haven't been working on my shop. I've been a bit lazy. Things were dropping over time, but I don't see. I would expect if Etsy had made a sudden change, this would be sort of my background, and all of these ones would go along and then fall off a cliff. But we've got some that are going along and jumping up a cliff, dropping away and coming back. I don't see a step change. But that's not enough. I wanted to do some more tests. You're going to laugh at these tests. I've learned something about how the algorithm's working anyway. Whether it's a good something or a bad something, I've learned something. So let's have a look at my tests. So let me know how you feel about seeing my how my mind works rather than a sensible video. But so what I did was, is this a size I can actually see things? I decided to do some tests with some of my listings because one of this is hilarious right off the bat, right? So I used eRank's rank checker to search for cat bookmark because this is a term that if I make a listing for, I can rank in search. And I've got a couple of listings that they're ranking, but the best one's on page 5. So, and the interesting thing is these two listings, one of them, Etsy has a problem with the picture. The other says it's too dark, and the other one it's totally happy with. Go figure. Does that make any sense? But anyway, so initially, that's where my listings were ranking in the Etsy API for this term. So I then took, you'll see here, these two listings. As I say, Etsy decided this one's too dark and that one's perfectly fine. But all I did was I took this top listing that Etsy thinks is absolutely fine, it has no problems with, and I duplicated it. I copied this listing, left it 5 minutes for Etsy to be able to find it, and then checked where just this new listing, you can see I just created it, did it yesterday. I just created it. Where does it show up? Immediately in search, it ranked in position 5. So I know that's sort of my baseline. A good listing can show up for that term, can show up on page 5. So you can see here, wait 5. So I deleted this listing, waited 5 minutes for Etsy to notice that that listing doesn't exist, for everything to settle. Create abomination. You're going to love this. I made this for my first image. I love it. So what is this? It's too small according to Etsy's sizes, so the quality's not good enough. It's a photo collage. I had so much fun making this, and I think anybody with functioning eyes would think this is a little bit too dark. So I've tried to make a picture as bad as I can for what Etsy wants for a picture. So I duplicated that first image, that first listing, and added this as the first image. I thought this was a fun test. Let's in chat, let me know what you think went wrong with this before we go in. And yep, it's a collage and it's very dim. Yes, it's also, you can't see there because I've sized it up, but it's very small as well. So it's got as much as I could include that Etsy would hate. But yes, it tickled me to make such an abomination. So as I say, I duplicated that first listing. I'd already duplicated it, made another listing, and then deleted that one. So that first listing, again, everything was back to normal. I duplicated it, and the only difference I did was I added this picture as the first picture. YouTube police, Etsy loved it. That, you know, the worst thing that could happen is somebody that would immediately buy it. Anna, I could put text on it saying don't buy. See, the problem with that, if I did something like that, there's yes, having text on the first image, but Etsy isn't, I don't think Etsy's saying we can't have that. But anyway, if I did that, someone would buy it. Like, it's like put a button on saying don't press, it will end the world. If I put something saying don't buy, people will buy it. So the first interesting thing is, this is in my listings. You can see it's created. You can see how awful it is. Etsy doesn't immediately notice when you've got an abomination. So you can see here's how they show it in your listings. One way to improve, you know, so they're showing lots of things. So you can see it is just this listing that's been duplicated and had another photo added. So Etsy thinks, Yeah, that's fine. I have no problem with that, which is already an interesting thing because when they're talking about how new listings rank in search, they say they have a neutral score. The only thing that might cause it problems is if the photo was bad or something. Etsy don't notice straight away. This is the first thing that caused me big problems because if Etsy aren't noticing the problems, I can't see where this ranks based on the problems because Etsy aren't seeing the problems, if that makes sense. I had hoped they would spot it fairly quickly, so I decided to wait about. But first of all, that went in, back in again, ranked number 5, exactly the same as it did when it didn't have a terrible picture, when I did the same thing and it didn't have a terrible picture. So immediately, Etsy is definitely not looking at your photographs to decide if that's any good. And yeah, a little bit annoyed. I left it a bit of time to see if Etsy would notice it. But the problem is a brand new listing gets a boost in search and then it falls away over time. So I couldn't sit with this where it was and wait for Etsy to spot the terrible photograph because it's going to drop in rank. So I'm not going to be able to say if it's dropped in rank just because time's passed or if it's because Etsy's marking it down because it's an abomination. So thanks, Etsy. You've messed up my tests. So I decided I had to do a different test. So I decided to do it with a completely different keyword, with completely different listings. So what I'd done here doesn't impact, none of these have been affected. Basically, it's a clean slate. I hope this makes sense. So I decided to go with corgi butt. This is another thing I can rank for. I have listings in search that are ranking on page 2, page 3, and page 5. So this was my next test. I took this middle listing and swapped out this picture that Etsy is absolutely happy with and added my terrible image. So we see it again. Immediately, Etsy doesn't spot the issues with it. So again, that's interesting. So I decided to let this run. I can see it didn't change its rankings. Nothing happened there. And I decided just for funsies, here's something that I learned that's kind of interesting. These 2 cat bookmarks, Etsy hates one of them. We've already established. Etsy thinks that one is too dark and that one's absolutely fine. So I decided, what happens if I go in and I just flip the first images? I don't do anything different about the listing. I just flip over the images. So a very interesting thing there is when you flip over an image, so it hates this image, all I did was click this image and dragged it to there. And immediately Etsy goes, oh yeah, it's fine. And this doesn't matter what image it is. It doesn't recognize the bad. It doesn't recognize if it's good or bad. It just says, we've detected you've changed it. So everything's fine now, which is interesting because it's not noticing if I've uploaded an image that's an abomination and dropped it in there, that exclamation mark would go and you'd think, I've done it. I've done fantastically. So it didn't notice when I swapped these 2 around. So there's now that was the bad picture, that was the good picture. But they've swapped around. Now there's no warnings on either of my listings when we know Etsy hates that picture. Okay, so it took till 11 a.m. today. This is why I couldn't come on. It took till 11 a.m. for the actual alert to show up that it hated this abomination. But it only has an issue with one part of it. It doesn't hate the whole of my listing. This is hilarious. It only thinks, oh, it's only complaining about the size. Doesn't notice that it's a collage. I thought it was pretty. I even left some spaces between the pictures so you know it's a collage. Hasn't noticed it's a collage. Doesn't bother that it's very dark. I mean, it thinks that picture's too dark, but that one just fine. Jar. I wonder if Etsy doesn't detect your bad image because they're so bad. Truly something no one would create. So it doesn't match training data of bad image models. That's a good point. But no, it seems it takes about a day for Etsy to notice, for Etsy to analyze your pictures, because it did notice this is bad. Now, what it's noticed is its size, it's too small. So that's something that it could immediately notice if it wanted to. And YouTube police, what if you put a completely black photo? I mean, pitch black. Bet you someone would buy it. People would click on it. They would think, oh, is that a naughty one? Let's click and see. So the next day when the alert showed up, everything had dropped slightly in search. We're seeing a trend of that with me anyway. But now it's noticed that this is a bad photograph, and it's still my second highest ranking photo for this keyword. It was listing. It was before I changed the picture. It is now. It's not dropped in. Everything's dropped slightly, but it's not significantly dropped in its rankings. So because everything's dropped, it's not dropped enough for me to be able to say significantly that there's a difference. If Etsy notices there's a way to improve your picture, it's making a difference, basically. Am I making sense? Hope I'm making sense. It didn't make enough of a difference for me to be able to spot a difference. Ooh, I think my light's on the fritz. So yeah, I don't think it impacts where you rank, or it's certainly not. But yes, it's only seeing, what is it that it, yes, it's just saying it's too small, but there's a lot more wrong with that, Etsy. So it's only noticed one issue, which is interesting. And where I flipped my cat images over, I did that later on in the day, it's not even noticed that yet. Shall we see? Has it noticed it now? Yes, we're on the right page here. Let's see if it's noticed a difference in my pictures, because I don't want to. Oh no, it still hasn't. So I flipped the pictures over. I think it was that one now was a bad image, but it hasn't seen it. It hasn't bothered by it. So it's almost like just changing it. Etsy's happy. It's like, oh, you did something. Didn't do a good something, but you did something. So, okay, it's not a very conclusive test because Etsy's making that difficult. Who knew? Yeah, so Etsy's making it difficult for me to be able to do my testing on it because it takes them so long to spot things. But from this very, very small test, I don't get the feeling that these warnings on images are impacting where your listings rank, or they tell us descriptions impact where you rank. It doesn't do to an appreciable amount that you notice. If your listing ranks one place higher or lower in search, that doesn't matter because of personalizations. It's going to be seen on the front page. It's going to be seen on page 20. It's going to be all over the place. So I think if these things that Etsy warn us about are currently being shown up are currently being used in where your listings rank, it's very, very tiny amount. I don't think it is at all. There is a chance that Etsy is going to use these things. And McNelly, it says it thinks one of my pictures is too dark. It's a picture of a black item. Yep, I've heard that from lots of people. I've seen that. Etsy's algorithm is supposed to know the difference. It absolutely doesn't. So anyone who's getting told off for a bad image when it's a good image, definitely contact Etsy, because it's very possible that they will use these factors for ranking in the future. I don't know how big a deal it'll be, but it's a possible thing. So Etsy has to get it right before they can do that. That's my feeling. So contact them and let them, give them the feedback to say, no, you're wrong, that's not a bad photograph. Your algorithm's having a hallucination. Yeah, so, but at the minute in time, I don't currently think it's an issue. I think they tell us the customer service thing, like the lowered star seller thing, they tell us this has an impact. I believe it has an impact. I mean, I believe it's had an impact for a while. How many of us have said things like, you feel you get more sales on the day when you've posted out a bunch of things. You get more visibility on a day when you've had a few good reviews. So we felt these impact search. So they've told us these impact search. So yeah, that they're telling us from the 1st of October, the postage price being under $6 US to US will impact search. Where they're telling us definitely these things will impact search, they're hopefully things that you're able to deal with. And we know conversion, if people see your item in search and they purchase it, you're more likely to be shown for that search. Absolutely makes sense. So I don't think there's been as big a change as Etsy want us to think. I definitely 100% don't think that if you're 100% think if your listings are doing well, Etsy isn't going to want to take that away from you. Ginger's here too. Hello. You have a photo of a navy blue wool kipper that Etsy says is too dark. If anything, it's too light on a white background, trying to force the blue not show it black. Yeah, that's the interesting thing with my 2 cat bookmarks. One that Etsy says is okay, one that Etsy says isn't. It's only a slight difference in angle of the photograph. The one that Etsy says is too dark, like you, is actually blown out. The whites are too white. It is too bright. It just is a dark subject. So, Etsy. Yeah, that's my feelings about this. Not necessarily the raspberry. Well, maybe. But I don't think it's that big a deal. And when Etsy took away our search analytics beta, they said something more exciting was coming soon. This better not be it. Etsy, this better not be the change that you've promised us. There better be something good coming for stats, because this ain't it. Yeah, I'm happy they're being honest. They're giving us a customer service score to work towards. I'm not happy. Well, I'm happy that they're not focusing on free shipping as much as they were, because that really annoyed me. I'm not bothered that they're telling us, oh, this photo could do with brightening up. This photo is a little bit too small or something. That'd be cool, but just tell us it's not that important, because what determines a good photo is whether people are clicking on it. Like, Etsy's told me some of the pictures that are too small, they're my listings that are some of my best sellers. So customers like the pictures. Could I do better pictures? Yeah, absolutely. I will in future, but not with those listings, because I can't retake those pictures because my items are custom. So that's an example of something that happened in the past. So yeah. The Geek Authority. Will humans ever be brought back into the screening process, or can we expect just more AI? AI is cheaper. Simply put, when you've got millions and millions of sellers, probably hundreds of millions of listings, it's not possible for humans to do all of the screening. That being said, we were told this year definitely humans were brought into this. The idea was it was Etsy staff that were picking Etsy picks and things like that. They were picking them and going, algorithm, this is an example of good. This is good. So this is probably what's done the training. So yes, humans will be used to train the algorithms, and sort of we're being used to train the algorithms. When we go back in and tell Etsy it's wrong, Etsy, someone human will hopefully go and check it and feed those details back to the algorithm, hopefully. So, yes, but can we expect more AI? Yeah, it's quick, it's cheap, it's here to stay. I'm sorry. But we have to learn how to read what Etsy's telling us. I have a horrible feeling that these photo things are going to impact search. Hopefully not too much. At the end of the day, excuse me, what a search algorithm's job is supposed to be is to find the things that people want to buy. So we have to feed it the data to explain to the algorithm what we think our item is. And then the algorithm has to put it out there and see how it behaves. And if customers love it, put it out there more. So the most important things are we make really cool stuff that people want to buy. That's always been the most important thing. If Etsy changes the algorithm away from favoring the stuff that people want to buy, then they're going to have messed up hugely. That's like the dumb. I do think let's just go off into flights of fancy. I do think less and less, if Etsy is going to be wanting to move towards less and less people having to search for what they want and more Etsy to bring them what they want. These blooming emails 7 times a day going, we found this, we found this. But also, the homepage should be showing interesting things. The gift mode should be showing interesting things. As that gets better and better, people are going to be searching less and less. So what will start becoming more important is what I said, this relationship of when somebody liked this kind of thing, they also like this kind of thing, this kind of thing, and this kind of thing. So this person likes a similar thing, let's show them similar things. That kind of algorithm. The reason why I think that it's not just because that's sort of what Josh has said, but that's how places like you're on YouTube. YouTube has been getting more and more like that. I started seriously on YouTube in 2017. The majority of my views came from search, came from people typing in what they wanted to learn and finding my videos. Now the majority of my videos come from browse. That's people being shown them on the homepage when they go into YouTube, and YouTube just going, hey, we think you might want to watch that. So YouTube has started to learn that hopefully you guys like my kind of stuff. And then they'll start to put things together, and it'll be like, if people watch me, hey, people who've watched Pam have liked Starla in the past. Let's show some of Starla's videos. And the other way around a lot more, because there's a lot more people going in and watching Starla. So I can see the Etsy algorithm getting a bit like that. Hey, for funsies, guys, where did you come? I know a lot of your faces there, but we've got 83 people watching. How did you find this video? We're just doing a test on algorithms. Why not? Did you search for something and find me? Was I on the homepage? Were you notified that this video was going to go live? That would be interesting to hear. But I see in my stats of videos that it is most people are coming because YouTube shows on their homepage or at the suggested coming up next or anything like that. Anyway, let's check let's check the rest of the comments now. Just no. Interestingly, my very best seller is the only item that showed up as having too dark of a photo. Yeah, isn't Etsy fun? Yeah, I definitely give Etsy feedback if there's reasons why a photo's dark, because there's reasons why photos should be dark. Ginger, if you're the only one on Etsy that sells a certain item, why would Etsy penalise a seller cutting off their nose to spite their face? Yeah, that's no matter. Unless Etsy's really, 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 really stupid, if something's working, they don't want to stop it working. So yeah, the bits that are good in the algorithm, they don't want to get rid of. They don't want to stop showing things that are making money. So we'll see. Yep, my most favorited item in both shops have photos that are too dark. Yeah, the customer have spoken. If they're liking it, if they're buying it, then obviously it's not too dark. Lorenzo, can you give Etsy parameters on what they want to show you? Sometimes I see things I wouldn't even think of searching for. It's weird. That is kind of what I'm talking about here. It's a suggestion algorithm. That's something that the likes of TikTok is very good at. YouTube is a bit meh at, and I imagine Etsy's pretty rubbish at. But to an extent, as I said, what's happening is they're saying people who liked this also like these kind of things. So if you like this, we're going to try you with this kind of things. But obviously, there has to be more to it, because if that was all it is, then new items would never get seen. New videos, new stuff would never get seen. So they have to test it. Now, this is a thing that's been going on in social media for a while. It's very much how YouTube works as well, and how Facebook's been working for a while even. You have your followers, your core. It's not necessarily people who are subscribed, but people who watch or interact with your stuff a lot. So when some new content comes out, YouTube or Facebook or whatever will show that content to the regulars. And if the regulars watch it more than usual, if they're more likely to click on it, more likely to love it, more likely to interact with it, then the algorithm will show it to more people. It'll go, okay, we understand that's pretty cool for this type of people. Let's test it in a bigger group. And if that bigger group does better than expected, it'll test it in another bigger group. And you get pushed out to very different people. If your regulars just watch it as usual, then it just goes on as usual kind of thing. And if you post stuff that your regular crowd don't like the look of, so this is where niche is important. If I suddenly made a video about me tap dancing, hopefully most of you would be like, really not all that interested in that. So what would happen there is YouTube would go, this isn't doing so well with our regular crowd, so we're probably not going to show it to more people. You get anomalies. You get things that, because algorithms are always doing a little test to, let's show it to this random person, let's show it to, if they threw it out to a random person and the tap dancing video did great, they might accidentally be able to find the right audience to show the video. But most often than not, they don't. And if you do something very different, then it dies a death. This is Facebook everywhere. This is sort of how the algorithms work. So yes, so if Etsy is showing you things you wouldn't ever think of searching for, one of two things is happening. Either the people who like the things that you like also like things that are a bit weird, or the algorithm's having its wee test on you. Maybe 1 in 100 times it just goes, I don't even know what this is. What do you think? And if you love it, then they're going to put you into a bucket of, hey, you like that kind of thing, right? Let's try you on something different. I see this very much on YouTube as a watcher of YouTube. If you start watching some things, quite often what you like, a good one, if you've ever watched any flat earth videos or debunking flat earth videos, don't even ask how I got into that place on YouTube. YouTube will recommend a lot of other flat earth videos, and you'll go down a kind of rabbit hole of that kind of thing. And you can get stuck. Suddenly your feed is only showing one type of thing, whereas you might have broad interests. So occasionally, if something different pops up and you click on it, you might suddenly see your feed is now changed completely. Or sometimes it's not. It's like you've spent 4 hours sitting watching flat earth videos while you fell asleep in front of the computer by mistake. So suddenly you're just going to keep getting shown really weird things. But yeah, so basically, if you're sorry, rambling off, went off on one. But yeah, if you're seeing weird things, it means the Etsy algorithm's learning, which is kind of good. Muncanelli found you because I'd watched a couple of Starla's videos and subscribed. Awesome. Starla is a friend. And I think hope we've worked. Starla is awesome if anyone hasn't seen her, and way better than me. But I think we have similar values and ideas and stuff. So hopefully people who like her like me, and people who like me like her, there's enough of an overlap that yeah, you possibly will see. If you watch 20 Starla videos, occasionally you might see a Pam face pop up. Susanna, you just popped up on my homepage. Yep. So like I say, homepage thing. Oh, here we go. Caitlin, YouTube search. Thank you so much. Some people, I think I watch a lot of YouTube. I would say a handful of times a day I'll search for something, but most of the time I just pick stuff out of my homepage or my feed. Yeah. Becca, subscriber, thank you. You're in my feed. Thank you. Momo notified it was going live. Yeah, I think that's going to be the is notifications, or very few people are searching, which does make it, because I like SEO, but it does make it that now they're notified. It does make it almost that, not saying that this is where we're going off on one, but anyway, this is where I see Etsy might go in future. It's not that SEO is not important on YouTube anymore. You want to know the kind of things that people are interested in, but it's less important to like keyword stuff your title. It's more important to make a title that people will want to click on, which is, I mean, one of my highest click-through rates on videos are things like where I do a title, it's something like, oops, I messed up, or oh no, not again, Etsy, or something, because you're like, oh, what's Pam on about just now? Whereas you would look and you'd think, where's the keywords? What terrible. So I don't think that kind of clickbait thing is going to work on Etsy so much, but definitely less. This is not where we're at on Etsy, but I can see less stuffing of keywords and more just things that people will click on when they see it, if that makes sense. Olivia also got a notification. Kiri subscribed and I showed up on your homepage as a live. Yes, YouTube do push lives because I guess, obviously it's a time dependent thing. You want to get on when the person's live. Anna subscribed so I can see you in my feed and opt to be notified. Yep. So I think we've had one person with search so far, which, I mean, lives are a bit different, but it just does go to show less and less and less people are searching and more are being fed the things. And this is kind of what we're seeing in the Etsy algorithm. Today got a notification. YouTube noticed. I like this one. Galactica, husband told me you're live. So a husband notification, like that one. Retro Cat Art, YouTube notified. And Canadian homepage showed live in 5 minutes. And it's interesting, actually, as well, to know when you get the notifications. If you get, because there's some people I follow and you don't see the notification for live until they've been live, like they were live 4 hours ago, because these are people that basically, like I said, your core group, the people who watch absolutely everything you put out, they get notified first. So if I'm getting a notification hours after someone's gone live, it's kind of been a good live that YouTube's pushed to the right people and they've loved it, and then pushed to the next lot of people. But unfortunately, by the time they've pushed to me, it's been the live's already been and gone and done. But that's why sometimes you get that. Susanna, I'd watch you tap dancing. Oh dear. I am not making it tap dancing. CC was just watching Elsa Does Life and why she's quitting Etsy. Oh, it's so sad. It's a constant thing that we're seeing why people are quitting Etsy. I totally understand. Oh, you're saying she was selling for 17 years. After selling on Etsy for 17 hours. Okay, I don't know how else does life. If she's been selling for 17 years, my heart hurts for her. If she's been selling on Etsy for 17 hours, then yeah, that's a clickbait video. I don't know who this is, but I'm just saying. Oh, CJ, you're the reason you started getting the flat earth videos. Yeah, actually, yeah, good point. That's another thing. If we all watch a lot of Etsy videos and I go off down a rabbit hole and accidentally leave my computer running, then yes, they probably go, oh, CJ, you liked watching some of the same videos that Pam liked watching. You might like this flat earth one. Muncanelli, I like Etsy YouTubers are realistic and non-bombastic. I love the word bombastic. It's so much fun, but I'm non-bombastic for sure. Oh, right. Yes. Okay. After selling for 17 years, they want her to verify information in 7 days or not. Yeah. I hate this thing. And not only that, they're mainly US. Well, no, I'm seeing all over the world. But people who've already verified their information are getting asked to verify their information again. And it's so bullying. Do this in 7 days. Do this right now. I bet you after 17 years, this is the straw that's broke the camel's back, because probably, and anyone who's been following me for a while, when I started these videos, I'm like, yes, Etsy's the community, it's the best place to be. And now after the changes they've made, I'm a little more like, it's the best we've got. I'm still looking at other options for UK sellers. I have been talking to Folksy. My friend Starla has been talking to Go Imagine. You know, we are trying to find options that, for most of us, things like having our own website is probably a little bit too difficult. We want an Etsy like what Etsy used to be. Just now popped up on the feed, but I'm a subscriber. Yep. Finished my favorite true crime show and you popped up in the feed to watch next. Well, I was kind of doing true crime with my whiteboard going on there. Interestingly, I do watch a lot of true crime as well. I have been recently. Ladybird, followed and received notification. CC, yeah, the 17 hours was a mistake. Hey, I've seen YouTubers who do that. It's like, I'm trying selling on Etsy. I'm going all in. No, it's not for me. This is why I'm quitting. And you know fine well they only gave it a try so they could make a video saying they were quitting. But 17 years, I absolutely feel so sad for her. Yeah, Ginger, I'm always surprised that I get on that second or fourth list for channels that have been an ardent follower since the beginning. Miss one or two and we get dropped, I guess. Absolutely. Yeah, I hate that. There's some people that I watch, maybe they post a video once a week and I watch every single time, but if I go away on holiday or I miss one or something, suddenly there's a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's just a really cool guy, really lovely guy, and he tests recipes, but fun ones in an interesting way. And that's sort of my Friday night guilty pleasure, and I sit and watch them. But when I was away in the spring, I missed his Friday night because I was away. I think I missed 2 Friday nights, and I kind of forgot. And it was months later when his videos popped up, and it's like, I've not had a recommendation for him for ages. Yes. Retrocatter, I'd love it if you did some folksy videos. I am definitely planning to. Folksy is cool, but it does have the problem of being smaller. And sadly only for UK sellers, but people in the rest of the world can buy. So but I have a feeling that we could get together to build something, for a bit more publicity and things. Not just me, I'm not that big a YouTuber, but there is a way that we could get momentum to build up certain places. I'm sure there's also a problem with buyers are losing the love for Etsy. They're hearing really bad things. So if there was good alternatives for them to buy from, then it would be a better place to recommend that sellers go to, and you could build a platform. Anyway, yeah, that went off on a tangent, but I hope that helps. Maybe we understand a bit more about algorithms. Maybe we understand a bit more about the Etsy change, which isn't as big as I think it is. But I'll keep experimenting in my shop and see if we see anything. Definitely, when you're making new listings, keep in mind Etsy's alerts on your photos. I mean, it's going to be it was hard work to make a photo that was too small for Etsy now. I really had to go in and do that on purpose. Making it that dark, yeah, it's easy. Like I would be too dark for Etsy just now, if it's a dark thing, but Etsy needs to sort out their algorithm. But anyway, yeah, I could prattle on for ages, but we'll want our Sunday night back so we can chill and get ready to hit the new week and the new month. Good grief. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. This has been a pleasant way to spend an evening. Okay, I'll catch you later.